Hey all, welcome to another quick tutorial looking at Ruby nested if statements. So in the last tutorial we saw how the if statement was structured roughly as we see it on the screen here now. So we've got the basic if, and we're saying if the location is something similar to, because we're using this magic syntax here, then put okay, it's a big city. And remember, this got us around the capital L small l issue. Now what we're saying here is, well, else if location equals Scotland, put this, else if location equals, and now what I've done, I've just changed it around a little bit to do the assessment using the or statement. And what we're looking for here is a particular city. I realise this is mixed. This is a city in England, the entire nation of Scotland, and then one town or city in Wales. But let's have a quick look. This is just to demonstrate the structure. We'll come on to why I've done this in a second. So you can see that the else ifs allow us to say, well, else if it's this, and else if it's this, else, well, that's our catch-all at the end. And what we want to look at now is how we might put a nested if statement, because really what we would want to do here is say, well, if, and ideally this would say if UK, then ask if it's London, and if it's Scotland, well, ask if it's a certain town or city in Scotland. Well, let's just have a look at this as an example. So what we'd want to do to get towards our nested if statement is start breaking this down. Whoops, ls, it's not ls, it's else if, and we will obviously want to use Wales here, so we'll go Wales like this, and we'll use the array format where we're going to try and evaluate this to true. Oops, there we go. And dot include. I'm sure you'll remember this syntax. Location. So does location include either of these? And if that's true, I'll tell you what we'll do. Stick the then on the end. I always miss those out because we don't strictly need to put them in. Ruby knows what we mean. But if that's true, then put which part of Wales. Okay, so we'll ask which part of Wales do you actually come from. Now here we get location, but our location is being used for country here. Okay, a little bit quirky up here, but this is where we should go. We should fix this to UK. So we've got Scotland, and we're using the different kinds of evaluators, if you remember, just to practice the different styles. What we need to then do is we've put a text to screen, but we need to now capture a value in a new variable, and what we'll call it is country part. So country part equals gets chomp dot downCase as usual. So we've now got a new variable called country part, which will find out which part of Wales they come from. Now obviously we need the user at the moment to enter one of these locations, so we're going to change this now to become a nested if statement. So we'll say, let's just indent it so it's clear to us, if we need to change this to country underscore part is Panabon, or country underscore part is Bridgend, the English word, the English language version of Penabont. Then puts, hey, a fun town. Okay, so we've got our if going on there. Now let's go ahead and do an else if within this if statement as well, and just for clarity let's indent it. So else if, I always say elf country underscore part equals something like, you know what, I'm just going to copy this because it's a bit quirky to type. There we go. So if it equals something like, and what we'll do here, we'll say Cardiff. Okay, then we'll put a little message back to the screen. Cardiff has a nice castle, Cardiff Castle, of course. So we'll say nice castle there. And what we need to do in our if statement is always have our terminating else, just in case it's something else. So else puts never been there, and I know, oops, hang on, I won't even try and pronounce this. And I will probably, God, why am I doing this? Edictin CR add Simrag. That is probably wrong. It's supposed to say, do you speak Welsh? But I'm sure it's wrong. Okay, so that's our catch-all else. And what we'll need to do then is close our end our if statement, right? So there's our nested if statement, and it's exactly the same structure as another if, else if, and else if, else if, else if, and then terminated with an else. So let's just read this through. We have terminated the end statement there. We've got an if, else if, do something else, else end. So it looks syntactically correct to me. Running it will see. So if we just do a quick code read through, we've got, so we get the location, we get the initial location. Okay, this really should be UK, and we should have an else if it's a certain location, but that's fine. So if it's London, okay, big city. Else if it's Scotland, I should probably change that before I offend someone. But fine mountains. Else if it's Wales. Else if location includes either of these, then but which part of Wales? And we call a new variable, or we assign a new variable to the value of the user input, country part, and then we drop into an if statement, a nested if statement. So if the country part, because we've got multiple things we need to evaluate, we're going to use a nested if. If the country part is Panabont or country part is Bridgend, and obviously we could use any of these structures, then puts a fun town. Haven't been there in years. Else if the country part is Cardiff, uppercase or lowercase, remember, then nice castle. Else, who knows, haven't been there. Do you speak Welsh? If that's what that actually says. And we end our if statement here. We have got our if, numerous else ifs, and an terminating else. I think that is going to work, so let's run it and see. So where are you from? Let's jump straight to, where are you from? Else if location, else if Wales, right? So we've got Wales as location. Which part of Wales? Bingo. Okay, so it's caught Wales. So now come down here and said, well, in that case, ask them again. We're about to populate the country part variable with this input. So let's give country part some input, and I will go for Panabont. Fun town. Haven't been there in years, and the program has terminated. Very good. Let's try Cardiff now. So let's run that. So where are you from? Uppercase Wales. Let's try a different path. Which part of Wales? Okay, it's caught it again. And let's use an uppercase, Cardiff. Nice castle there, and again the program has terminated. And just for a final test of what we've added, where are you from? Wales. I don't know. I can't think of any more countries in Wales. Never been there. Do you speak Welsh? And again the program has terminated. So that is a nested if statement. All you're looking to do is add the if construct where you would put any other line of code. Puts, well, you're not putting puts, you're putting this construct here. But the outer if retains its original structure. And that is it. That is all there is to nested if statements.